Today we are at the Spanish Embassy. We're going to be speaking with the Spanish Ambassador, Your Excellency Marcelino Ansorena. Your Excellency, you're welcome to our platform.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be with you as an interviewer and be also with the Supremacy magazine. I read and peruse the document and the magazine, and I've seen that you have already done some very good interviews to my colleagues. So I'm in your hands. I'm at your disposal.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, can you share with us your experience so far, assuming duty as the ambassador to Spain?
Well, it's been a very fruitful and, how shall I put it, very exciting experience. I was ambassador some years ago to Cameroon, to Chad and Central African Republic, so let's say I knew a little bit of the atmosphere. Nigeria is completely different. Nigeria is a giant. Nigeria is a vibrant country, the largest economy, the most important economy, the largest number of young people here, many problems also, and many challenges. It's a difficult country to understand. When I came here more than 2 years ago, I was explained that I shouldn't stay too much in Abuja. Abuja is very important. You have the capital, the administrative issues is where you have dealing and signing agreements. But if you want to understand Nigeria, well, or at least try to understand Nigeria, I should travel. And I've traveled as much as possible. Of course, I've gone to Lagos, where we have our Consulate General and commercial office a few times. I try to organize also our National Day there and to be in contact with our Spanish citizens and our investors and traders in Lagos. But I've known a little bit more than Lagos in the southern part. I've been in Cross Rivers, I've been in Akwa Ibom, and then I've been also in Nasarawa. I've been to the northern part, to Maiduguri, where we have some important projects and initiatives in order to help the most vulnerable people, especially women and girls. And well, I have now an image, I think, a little bit more clearer than when I came. But sometimes I've heard that if you think you understand Nigeria, is because they didn't explain you well. I've been told this statement, and I think I'll be leaving in Nigeria, maybe understanding it a little bit more, but never in its complexity.
Okay, how would you describe your country's relationship with Nigeria?
It's very warm. We don't have any difficulties. You know that, for instance, the trade with Africa, the Spanish trade with Africa is even higher than the trade we have with Latin America. Spain is very close to Africa. It's only 10 kilometers. And we have with Nigeria, first of all, a very long tradition of diplomatic relations. We opened our first embassy here. It was in last century, in 1960. So now it's nearly, we're going to celebrate our 80th anniversary of diplomatic relations. And it's very easy because we share values and principles. And I think sometimes even we share a common character. Values and principles. I was speaking with some of your colleagues during the National Day and in other occasions. We are very, both countries are very proud of our history, of ourselves. We are very respectful of democracy and the rule of law. We are proud of our country and the unity of our country, absolutely necessary to survive in a global world, as you Nigerians know and as Spaniards know. We don't have any conflictive situation. The issues we are trying to improve is the normal ones. We want to improve our trade, we want to improve our investments in Nigeria, which is very attractive for our investors. We want to reinforce our cultural relations. For instance, we try not only to show our Spanish culture to Nigerians, but also to try to show the Nigerian culture in Spain. We have prize awards for young painters and for young women painters, and the first award is always to take them to Spain in order they know our cultural heritage and our painting heritage. we bring here to Nigeria, and it's quite a success, very well-known musicians, guitar players, dancers, contemporary dancing. These last 6 months we've presented in Abuja and Lagos contemporary music, contemporary dancing, guitar music players, films participating in the Suma Festival, and we are organizing as well missions, academic missions, in order to improve the knowledge of Spanish. And at the same time, we want to improve the knowledge of Nigerian languages in Spain. For instance, I organized an event, it was 2 months ago, in my residence, to present a Yoruba book, which has been translated to Spanish. Then we invited all the Yoruba traditional leaders and the Yoruba artists and writers, and they had a very fruitful discussion on the impact of Yoruba in Latin America, of course, in Brazil, in Cuba, and through Latin America in Spain. We have now more than 40,000 Nigerians living in Spain, and they are also ambassadors from Nigeria to Spain, and they are also showing the culture, and they want to share their values and the culture with the Spanish people. So let's say that in general our 3 main objectives is more investment here, more cultural in both sides, and more participation of the Spanish entrepreneurs and the Spanish investors in economic life. The political relation is very easy. We have continuously visits from high-level visits to Spain and high-level visits of Spaniards to Nigeria. For instance, during the last year, we had a visit of the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, the Director General, and the Director of Culture. So in general, we're happy. It's a very exciting and fruitful country to work.
Okay, recently the trade relationship between Nigeria and Spain have been on the deadline. What are the measures you have put in place to change the trade?
Well, the trade is a tricky issue because, you know, Spain is the 3rd partner of Nigeria, after India and the United States. We are the 3rd country buying you, but 90% of what we buy is oil and gas. And you are the 73rd country buying in Spain. So the deficit is enormous. When you say, well, we try to balance our trade, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because our deficit with Nigeria is the 3rd biggest in the world. We have with India, we have with South Africa, and we have with Nigeria. It is relatively normal. You are an oil producer country, we are not an oil producer country, so we buy oil and gas wherever we can, and we try to diversify our dependence. We buy in Algeria, we buy in Russia, we buy in Nigeria. But saying so, I think it's good because we reduce our dependence from other countries, and we trust your oil because it's a good one. Afterwards, if we want to balance the balance of payment, we would like, of course, we sell here tiles, we sell cement, concrete, we sell refined oil. Unfortunately, there are some products which are in the forbidden list. We would like very much that we could export furniture, fruit juices, shoes. You know, the shoes Spanish are very reputed, so we would like very much. But in general, I think the future would be much more commercial intercourse with Nigeria. Why? Because Nigeria has just signed the free trade agreement in Africa. In the future, there will be no barriers. That's clear, and then our products will come much more easily, and I'm sure that the balance of payment would be a little bit more fair, and but we will still be buying your wonderful gas and your wonderful oil.
What effort are your country and Nigeria making to tackle one of the greatest problems facing?
It's a problem. First of all, I want to admit that we have a problem, but in Spain it's not as big as a problem as it might be in other countries. As I said, we have 40,000 regular Nigerians living, and might be 10,000 living regularly. but some of those who are irregularly, unfortunately, they are trafficking with women and girls. It's a scourge for all of us because it's a modern slavery. So Spain is very much interested in participating with other countries in the fight against human trafficking and irregular migration of human beings. It's terrible. It's something that shouldn't occur during the 21st century. So we have a very important project within the European Union, but it's executed by Spain, of 8 million euros, which is called an agreement against trafficking and irregular migration. This is done by an agency, a governmental agency of Spain. They began 2 years ago with this 8 million, and it's basically, it has 3 pillars: prevention, training, also prevention, the young ladies who shouldn't be exploited by the mafias, reintegration when they come back, and training also, and prevention. We have a very good relation with NIS, with NIS, the National Immigration Service, with NAPTIP, with the National Agency against the Trafficking of Persons, and with the police, of course. We also share information, but the pillars are prevention, training, and reintegration. One of the very first visits I did here in Nigeria was to Akwa Ibom. To Akwa Ibom you have a magnificent stadium, and they had invited the Atletico de Madrid to play against the Super Eagles. So I went there. I enjoyed very much the ambience because you are really hooligans, and I am really hooligan, so I enjoyed very much the ambience. Okay. And football is more than a sport now. It's a means of diplomacy, and it's a very important economic activity. For instance, here we have La Liga. La Liga, is a company which deals with all the images of the footballers, and they are very important. You can see more football matches of Spain here in Nigeria than in Spain. You have La Liga and two channels transmitting continuously football matches of Spain. So I'm very glad that Nigerians love so much football, not as much as the British football, but let's say in the second place, which is not bad. And of course it is because Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid have very good players. But also Nigeria can take advantage of these things, not also for pleasure, but also from an economic point of view. You know that both Real Madrid and Barcelona have created here school of footballers. Barcelona in Lagos and Real Madrid in River State. And Atletico de Madrid is also thinking about creating another school in Akwa Ibom because they were amazed. When I went with them, with the president of Atletico de Madrid, he was amazed because when we went to the stadium, wonderful stadium, very modern, I remember we saw all the schools with football, playing all the young children playing football, and he said, well, this is for the future, the Messis and Ronaldos of the future. And he was absolutely right. There are more and more Africans and more Nigerians playing in the Liga and playing in the British League. No, it's something which is unstoppable.
Yeah, Your Excellency, insurgency has become a global problem. With your country's experience in handling the Catalan separatists, what's your advice to Nigeria on how to effectively tackle our own insurgency problem?
Well, first of all, I'm very respectful of the independence of the countries, and I wouldn't care, and I shouldn't care to give advice on politics, on internal politics. But I consider that now all countries are going to a global world where no separation is possible. The advance and the history goes on the country to globalization and to more large unities of political, for instance, European Union. It's clear, I mean, you give a little bit of sovereignty, but you have many advantages. In your case, in Africa, we were speaking about the signing of Nigeria of the free trade zone agreement. You will have 500, 600 people, a market of 500, 600 people that is going to have a free movement of goods and persons as we have at the European Union. So now, with this frame, within this frame, it's impossible to have independent countries, small in population and small in that. And this is from the historical point of view, but we have also many other points of view, economical, social, cultural. In our case, Spain. Spain is an old century, is a very old country, and we are proud of our unity, are proud of our sovereignty, and we are respectful, as you are in Nigeria, of law, and the law in Spain is clear. There cannot be independence of a single region, and there cannot be a breach of the constitution. I think your case is quite similar. You are respectful of the laws, you are proud of your unity, and you think that we are going through larger and larger markets as the signing of the free trade market has done. Just imagine Catalonia. Catalonia, if she gets independence, which is not possible because it would be unconstitutional, but they would be out of Europe, out of the European Union, out of our single currency. We've been fighting for many, many, many years. It should have terrible economical consequences. And from the point of view of society, it's terrible to see that a minority creates a division in society, husbands fighting against their wives, children against so from every point of view is a nonsense, and that's why it doesn't happen, and it cannot happen.
How do you see
Social life.
in Nigeria?
I like very much life in Nigeria and social life. We have in Abuja, you are here in Abuja. I read the other day that is the capital in Africa where more embassies are located, even more than Addis Ababa, where they have the African Union. So you have nearly 100 and some embassies or international organizations. So every day we have either a dinner or a national day, or a cultural event. So it's very exciting. Nigerians, I have a lot of Nigerian friends, not only diplomatic friends, but Nigerian friends. And I do appreciate social life. You are very social. You are and I think we share a similar sense of humor. So I can tell you, I enjoy social life very much. And that's one of the privileges we have here, that always we have something to do. And every day we know we are going to enjoy the evening.
Have you tasted any local Nigerian dishes?
I cannot avoid it. No, but I like suja, the rice. I like maybe it's you know that also we share Spain and Nigeria. We like spicy food, so I have also the persons who are working at the residence that prepare me either Nigerian food, either Spanish or French food, but always with a Nigerian touch, which means spicy and good. But when I go outside to the market, I love fish, for instance, the fish in Mogadishu. It's a really wonderful, that's a wonderful experience, and you eat it with your hands, and the fish is very well prepared. And suya, you say suya? Suya is very good, and their typical rice and the soup of fish is good. So I enjoy it, and I can tell you that my stomach is quite prepared for the spicy food. And you have very good fruits, and it's I mean, I think we are privileged in this sense.
Okay, this is where we end today's interview. Your Excellency, it's nice having you on our platform. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. You've been very kind. As I told you, I read your Supremacy magazine with great interest, and you know I'm at your disposal at any moment.